Good morning.
How's everyone today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. I didn't mean to cut your conversations.
No, we're just
Sure. Good,
chatting.
good. All right, it's almost 11, so we'll get ready to get started out here. Hopefully it's not too dark in here. Good. Oh, you are right there. Okay. You're fine? Okay. Thank you, thank you. I gotta put one more bullet on here. Come on, come on. Oh, we'll do it here. Okay. Mona, can you throw me a pen, please? Yes. You got one? Thank you. I got one. Thank you. Okay, 11 o'clock. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the June meeting, Clayton County District 4 Community Meeting. We've got a lot to present. Today, we're out here in the parking lot at Legends headquarters. We're having a free COVID vaccine. So even after doing this, please get online and spread the word. We have Dr. Reddy here who's going to speak a little bit about that, what the benefits of that is, what the benefits of those are. But first of all, we want to first acknowledge the passing of Commissioner Gregory. She was funeralized this past Saturday. We want to let you know that the special election will be held on September 21st to replace her seat, with qualifying being that Monday through Friday from July 19th to noon on Wednesday, July 21st. So anyone in that district who is going to run would have to qualify by then. It has been official, we are renaming the Senior Center in honor of Commissioner Gregory. So it will be the Singleton Gregory Senior Center. So I think that's a fine tribute to her as well. So we're happy that we're doing something. She served us well, so we want to continue her in our memories. We're going to go ahead first and get started with Dr. Reddy. You want to come over here, Dr. Reddy, and begin to tell folks the importance of getting the vaccine and when they can come out and get it right now?
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Reddy of Clayton County Fire. Thank you very much to Commissioner Davis for giving us this opportunity to partner and make it so easy to come and stop by and get a vaccine. We will be here as today, as well as 28 days from now. We will be back July 10th for our second vaccine. So we are making it super easy. The biggest reason to get a vaccine these days, we're making it easy, it's free, it's walk up, you don't need to schedule anything. And we would love to think that we are giving out free hugs, free, safe, no fear hugs after you get vaccinated. Hug your grandmother, hug your auntie, hug anyone you want without any worry of getting sick or getting anyone else sick. It's a wonderful ability to show your love. That is all. I can't encourage it more. Please do so for yourself and your community and your loved ones. Let's get back to normal. Let's get back to the way we were, and let's do it in a really safe way. If you don't mind, if anyone has any questions, feel free. I'm right here, so I'm not going anywhere. But please join us today and know that you can get your second shot in the same place on the 10th of July. So please join us.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Did anyone have any questions for Dr. Reddy?
Hey, Commissioner, can we tell exactly where you guys are?
We are at Legends headquarters in the parking lot. The address is 7240 North Davidson Parkway here in Stockbridge. It's right behind the Golden Corral in the same plaza as Ali and Northern Tools.
Perfect. Right beside Krispy Kreme too, huh?
Yes, yeah. Krispy Kreme is in Henry County, but yes, it's right beside it. We are in Clayton County, but yeah, right there, McDonald's, Wendy's. So we're right here. As soon as you pass it under 675. Okay, so we hope to see those that have not had shots, and those that have, please bring someone that has not had one and come on and get them vaccinated. We want to get this community back to normal as quickly as possible. All right, So no other questions for Dr. Reddy? We got the address. We're here 10 to 3. Okay. What else do we have here? Ms. Bivens, are you there? She's not on yet? Okay. Denise, can you send her the link? Maybe she's having problems with that. Just kind of send her the invite link and have her just log on. So we'll have her, she's going to just do an overview of everybody of the upcoming budget, just to give you an overview of what's going on and what the county's trying to do to be fiscally responsible with your funds. So without that one, let's go to, we have another issue. We have an interim chief. Everyone has heard about our sheriff has been suspended by the governor. Our new interim chief is interim sheriff is Chief Deputy Roland Boer. Am I pronouncing that name right, Chief Roberts? Roland Boer?
That is correct, you are.
So he will be, and Chief Roberts can give a little bit on this, but he will be acting as sheriff from this moment on until everything has been taken care of with our sheriff and all issues have been resolved. So anything you want to say about that, Chief Roberts?
I can say I've spoken with Chief Deputy Boer, and our partnership as it relates to fighting crime in the county remains strong. So you should not see a reduction in the way we approach our collaborative efforts to keep you safe.
Great. Appreciate that. What's the next on here? I see is Representative Bernal on the line?
Yes.
You want to give us a state update? On what's taking place with
Good
the-
morning.
Anything coming up?
I just want to give an introduction about reapportionment and redistricting are coming up. The data will be available the end of September, but they are starting to have town hall meetings. And so I will be sending out some information from fair districting and other information so that the community will understand how the process. But the meeting for us will be July 28th. That's the Atlanta meeting. And as soon as I get the time and location, I'll let you know.
Great. Was there anything else for the upcoming session?
No, because this will be our special session that will go in November for reapportionment. But we are at this time, if you do have an issue that you would like for us to consider for legislation for the next session, you can send that information to any one of any representative, and they will in turn take it under consideration. And so you have until the end of July, I think, to submit that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hodges, you want to give us an update on what's going on with Parks and Rec, the Lake Spivey Recreation Center that is going to be beautiful and fantastic when it's complete?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Yeah, so the Lake Spivey Recreation Center, we've added a few new exercise pieces of equipment. We can now challenge other recreation centers with exercise, whether you're walking on a trail or riding a bike. You know, if we have a pretty good challenge now going in between members of the Lake Spivey Recreation Center, as well as the other recreation centers, to see who can ride the bike the farthest. So yeah, you know, if you're interested in swimming, you know, our pool is open. It's an indoor pool. We have, if you want to swim laps or you just want to, you know, float in the water, we have water aerobics. If you're interested, we have those 2 or 3 times a day. Our exercise, we have spin bikes. If you're interested in a spin bike class, we have those. We've got instructors that teach those the spin bike classes, and I urge you If you're a senior, it's $5 per year to come to the center, swim, ride the bike. So if you're interested, you should at least come and try it out. Our cafe is opening up on the 15th.
Good.
That'll feature tea, sandwiches, fruit type smoothies, energy drinks. So the 15th, if you want to come out, we're going to do a small opening, grand opening type deal where they give away a bunch of samples of their sandwiches and stuff. They have gourmet coffee if you like coffee. As far as International Park goes, International Park, of course, we're doing the major renovations on the water park. The water park will not be open. The water park will potentially be open in late summer. The Nassau building is totally demolished and is being rebuilt as we speak. We hope to have everything ready towards the end of September. We may do a small opening for the public sometime in September, depending on how the weather goes this summer. Of course, our trails at International Park are doing, very, very, very popular. We've got a couple of 5K walk fun runs planned for this summer if you're interested in that. Dog park doing well if you enjoy the dogs. We have at the tennis center, we have just been awarded the National Wheelchair Tennis Tournament for USTA. The USTA National Wheelchair Tennis will be at International Park, which is a big deal. And we're doing that in conjunction with the Henry County Parks and Recreation. So let's see, the amphitheater at International Park, we're going through the design process right now, redesigning the entire amphitheater. Commissioner Davis is heavily involved in that, and he can tell you that it's going to be a game changer for this area when it finally gets completed. The VIP complex will be completed if you need to host a family reunion or a business meeting. That'll be open for rentals, I would say, in September this year. So if you're needing a space for a reunion, a wedding, any type of special event, the VIP will be ready for that.
Great.
Our parks are doing well. We're going through a little bit of a growing pain. Everyone went through the gas shortage, with the pipeline. We as a county decided to cut back on our resources in order to save gas, so we could have it for our public safety cars. And some of our parks are lagging a little bit behind, so just bear with us. But they will be cut soon. Our River's Edge Trail is slowly getting the design process for expanding that. The Jester's Creek Trail is doing well. Any other areas that you can think of, Commissioner Davis, that need to touch on?
No, in fact, we just had a question come up about that Jester Creek Trail. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, the Jester's Creek Trail is, of course, right there at Headquarters Library.
Mhm.
The parking lot for Jester's Creek and the parking lot for Headquarters Library has been shut down, I want to say, from the middle of last week until the end of next week. But we're still working, trying to get several spots available for the people that want to use the trail.
Great. Great. Any questions for Mr. Hodges?
Yeah, I had a question. How you doing, Commissioner?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just was wondering where the River's Edge Trail was. Just not familiar with it, or what area that's in Clayton County.
Yeah, the River's Edge Trail is in the panhandle of Clayton County, down at the very south end. It's the old golf course, River's Edge Golf Course, that was the county purchased as a part of our green space program. And we have since turned the golf course is no longer there. It's all grown up. There's trees everywhere. And we have decided to take that golf cart path and make a walking trail, through, similar to International Park, where it's 12-foot wide trails that go through the old golf course.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Any others?
When is the 5K trails gonna start at, you said the 5K walk's gonna be at the International Park. When is that gonna begin?
Yeah, right now it's going to be scheduled for July. I know it'll be on a Saturday morning. It's in July, of course. It's going to be very hot. However, we're going to do it in the morning, and it's just a fun 5K walk, run, and it's to help promote our Trail Ambassador program. So we have started a Trail Ambassador program due to the heavy uses of the trail. And sometimes, you get people on there that are maybe biking too fast or running too fast, or, it's to help educate the people of the trail rules and trail safety. So that'll be sometime in July.
Great. We have another question also, Troy. If you can give them the range of the cost to rent the facilities in the park.
We have a wide range of facilities available for rental. We have a small pavilions ranging all the way to our largest, which is St. Thomas Pavilion. And I want to say I would say several $100s for the day, $200 to $500, depending on all amenities you would like along with it. The VIP complex will pretty much be the same. It's a little bit cheaper, believe it or not, but it's our prices are low because we want the community to use the facilities. However, the fees are basically very, very, very competitive with the market out there.
Great. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, Troy. I appreciate all that information. Great job, doing a great job for us. Next, we want to go over the proposed budget. We have our CFO, Ramona Bivens, on the line, and she's going to give you a brief overview of how we are being fiscally responsible with your monies and what we're doing for next year. Ms. Bivens.
Good morning. Hold on. So I had to switch devices. I'm trying to figure out how to work this on the iPad. I've never done this on the iPad before. So hold on, give me. All right, can you see how it is? Let me scoot back. So, all right, is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, everyone. Commissioner Davis, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to the community regarding our budget. First of all, I wanted everyone to know not only is Commissioner Davis my boss, but he is also my commissioner because I live in your district as well. So we had a budget hearing, I think June 1st, to present the budget to the public. The budget document has been published. It is available online on the county's website under the finance department link. You can click on annual budget, and it may be available on the first page as well. The book is also available at all of the libraries for those of you that want to go pick up a paper copy and look at it in person. You can't take it with you, but you can go and view it there as well. So each year the board is required to adopt the annual budget. That's by state statute. And when we adopt the budget, there are 6 funds that you all may not be aware. You all just think of the general fund budget, but we have 6 funds. The general fund budget is the fund that handles all the day-to-day operating costs for the county, personnel, maintaining the buildings, utilities, all of those things. We have what we call a special revenue fund, and those funds are like federal grants or state grants that we receive, or grants that we receive from anyone else. They have a specific use and they cannot be used for anything else other than what the grant specifies that they can be used for. We have the capital projects funds, and that is what it is. So for all the capital projects, the buildings, new building construction, the roads, the streets, bridges, any of those things. And of course, that's where the SPOS dollars, the SPOS that you approve, that 1 penny sales tax goes into that account to handle all of the construction and roads projects that the county may have. We have a debt service fund. We don't have a lot of debt, so we don't have a lot of budgeted there. We have an internal service fund. That's where the county is self-insured for medical insurance for our employees. So that's where those funds are kept. And then we have enterprise fund, which is our landfill. I know Commissioner Davis told me he didn't want me to go through the whole PowerPoint, but I mean, I would be remiss if I did. I'm not gonna go through the whole PowerPoint, but there's some key things in here that I want everybody to think. Yeah, I need to record all this. So one of the things I talked about was the local economic conditions and outlook. We've had a lot of, well, I'm gonna say a lot, but about 1,065 jobs have been created or committed by various companies. The Clorox Company, Fresh Express, Chime Solutions, and some others that I can't recall at the time, but they have committed, created or committed about 1,065 jobs and continue to do create and commit jobs as we, daily as we proceed throughout the year. Our unemployment rate in April of 2021 was at 6.6%. That is much lower than it was last year. As you know, we were in the middle of a pandemic last year at this time, and our unemployment rate was 16.2%. That's an all-time high for Clayton County. Even back during the recession, unemployment only got up to 13.5% in 2010. And in 2019, pre-pandemic, we had reached an all-time low of 4.4% unemployment rate. However, it is trending back down, and in April is 6.6%, and I have not seen the May data yet. So hopefully that is trending down. And from what I hear on the news every day, when they get the employment reports, looking at the jobs created, that it's the economy is improving and coming back. We do have some revenue challenges because of COVID-19, because courts were closed and recreation centers were closed. Fees for the services that we would normally get, we did not get those over the past year. Fines and forfeitures that would have been paid through the courts, we've not been able to collect those yet. And then also we have some threats to our state and federal aid, which in fact impacts some of our federal, our salary reimbursements. But overall, our budget, the county is in good shape financially. We are projecting to end our current fiscal year with $103 million in fund balance. We're projecting, we're proposing $231 million in expenses for next year, and I will go over those in a minute. But before I get there, I want to talk about property taxes, because I know that is something that everyone is concerned about. So I know you all remember I believe it was 2008 when we had the housing bubble and the housing crisis began. Property values were extremely low. A lot of people were underwater. Today we have come back. We're actually at pre-recession property values as of this year, based on the preliminary digest that we received from the tax assessor's office. In 2018 is when we started seeing an increase in the property values, seeing some growth there. This year, last year we had a 12.4% growth in the digest. This year we have a 6.59% growth in the digest. We're not recommending to increase the millage rate which was reduced last year, the net millage rate to 15.089. Right now, my recommendation is to maintain that same net millage rate so that the tax rate will not increase for the millage rate. Some of the things included in this budget, the board had a retreat a couple of years ago and established some goals. And one of their priority, the top priority and the goals that were established is a quality of life. So this budget maintains some of the items that have been included in the budget the last 2 years for the quality of life for both the residents and the employees as well. We are continuing a public safety relocation incentive that we implemented a couple of years ago to encourage our public safety officers or police officers specifically to live in our county so they can live in the county that they are protecting, where they serve and protect. In another way, it's kind of like trying to build a neighborhood policing. So we're continuing that incentive and it has been used. I believe we spent a little over $20,000 this year on that program. You all are aware we have some new facilities, the Lake Spivey Recreation Center that you just heard about, the Northeast Center Senior Center, which is going to be renamed as the Sona Singleton Gregory Senior Center. The Northwest Library on the north side of the county just opened, and then the Flint River Community Center opened. All those buildings opened this year, so we have to make sure we include the operating cost for those, for the utilities, the water, maintenance, personnel, staffing, and all of that. And then another item that we've included in here to maintain the quality of life is additional code enforcement personnel and funding for expenses to continue the beautification of Clayton County. So when we look at our expenditures, I think I want to talk to you about the categories of our expenses because, well, first of all, I want to get back types of expenditures that we have. So of that $231 million that we're budgeting for, proposing in our budget for the expenses for this year, 65% of that is in personnel cost. And whether some of you may or may not know this, depending on if you work in business or not, but usually the average personnel cost for any organization is about 70 to 72%. So that is always the most, the largest expenditure that most organizations have is their personnel cost. 31% of the $231 million, which is about $73.2 million, is for the operating expenses for the county, with the remaining 4% going to capital outlay, debt service, and some other uses where we had to support some other funds. But I think what most people are concerned about, well, where are we spending the county's money? So we also have to report our expenses by category. And the largest category of expenditures that we have is to courts and law enforcement. It's $80.6 million of that $231 million is going to courts and law enforcement. What that includes is the sheriff's office, the jails, and the courts. The other next largest is 27.4% or $63.4 million. That's to general government, and that's for all the departments. That includes all the salaries, benefits, operation costs for those for all the departments. 22.5% or $52 million of our budget is going to public safety. That's where PD, the police department, and emergency management services, those expenditures are in that category. Then we have 4% going to parks and recreation and transportation and development. And then the remaining small percentage of that is going to the tax assessors and the tax commissioner's office, health and welfare, the libraries, and then again, that support that we provide for some of the other funds in the county. As I stated earlier, we have other funds, the special revenue funds, capital projects. We have like 6 funds that we have to budget. So the general fund, we talked about it already, it was $231 million. Special revenue fund is $43.9 million. The capital projects funds, we don't budget include it in this budget, but it is a project-based budget and it just carries over each year. So that data will be available on July 1 once we close out this year and roll that money over so we can determine how much we would need to spend for the next fiscal year. But that's where all the SPLOST dollars are, the Nassau building that was mentioned earlier, the park, the water park, all of that is included in our capital projects funds. Debt service fund is at $2 million. We issued a bond so we could, on the SPLOST, so we could move forward with some of the projects and not have to wait until we actually collect the money. And we'll pay that debt as we collect sales tax money. We have $25 billion budgeted for the internal service fund, which I stated earlier is where our medical self-insured insurance is. And then we have the enterprise fund. We have $3.2 million budgeted there for the landfill. And then our pension trust fund. Clayton County is unique than other counties where we have what they call a defined benefit pension or retirement plan. A lot of other counties have moved to a defined contribution, which is more like a 401k, and your retirement is going to be based on whatever money you have available at that time based on the stock market. On a defined benefit plan, you get a set amount of money for the rest of your life once you retire from the county. So for this year, we have $45 million budgeted in that fund. And so the total budget, including all 6 funds, is $350.9 million is what we're asking the board to approve. So again, 65% of that is of the general fund. That is the largest fund. That's where the majority of our money is spent. And that's where your tax dollars are spent, in that general fund, other than the 1 cent splost penny that goes to the capital projects funds. So that's all I have. I stated earlier, the budget book was published. We had a public hearing. The budget will be on the agenda for adoption next Tuesday. That's coming up Tuesday on June 15th. And then once we get the final digest from the tax assessor's office, we'll determine if we need to have any public hearings on the millage rate. Again, as I stated earlier, the millage rate will remain the same. However, because property values increase, that is could be considered a tax increase. So we would have to have hearings on that. And that's all I have. I hope I didn't go too long. I hope I didn't talk too fast, but you can understand me. I was telling Commissioner Davis, I have an event at noon. So that's all I have. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Anyone? No one has questions about your money.
Wow.
This is unique.
Well, that's okay, because I'm always available. If you have any questions about anything about the budget or how money's been spent, feel free to call me. My contact information, you can find me online when you go to Clayton County's website under the finance department. My email address and my phone number is there. So feel free to call me. If you want to have a sit down one-on-one, I'd be happy to talk to you and explain to you the budget process and how the finance works for the county. I believe in educating people, because a lot of people have questions because no one has ever explained to them how it works. And once so I've been doing this since 1993, and I've been with the county for 8 years. So I have spoken to several people during my 8 years with the county. Someone asked me to put my contact information in the chat. I can. And I have helped a lot of people. They understand how the finance process works. They understand the difference that the county and the school system they're two separate entities. So a lot of people will come and ask, well, why is the school doing this, that? We can't control the school. They have their own governing body. So we can't control how they increase their taxes or how they spend their money. And I don't see the chat on here. Miss Denise, can you put my contact information out there for me, please? Thank you.
Great. Looking. Anyone else have a question?
Commissioner Davis, I just wanted to make a comment about the jet fuel tax loss. We did have a meeting between your congressmen that represent Clayton County and state representatives, and we did discuss the loss from the jet fuel tax for Clayton County with them. And so we are continuing to work on that, because we want to make sure that our taxes don't go up and that we can continue the projects that are in line. And so that is something that we continue to work with, because we own the land where Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is. And so we want to make sure that our residents and our county are getting the funds that they are due. So we are continuing to work on that. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think our next loss negotiation is in 2 years. Is that correct? You know that, Ms. Bivens? Is it in 2 years?
I think you're talking about the service delivery agreements with the cities.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that is in next year it ends in 2022, I believe. So we will start negotiating that next year with the cities on the sales tax that the county does receive. We do have to share that with the cities. So I think that's what Commissioner Davis is referring to. I don't know what the percentages are right now off the top of my head, but it will be based on the services that we provide to them as well.
Right, we can pull that from DOR. Okay, great. Any other questions for Ms. Bivens? All right, thank you, and you have a good time at your event.
Thank you. You all have a great weekend.
Okay, next, let's go code enforcement. Who do we have out here from code enforcement? I saw. Do we have anybody from code enforcement? I don't see them. All right, Chief Roberts, you want to go ahead and give us, or actually, you know, I call on Chief Roberts so much. I should be going to Mr. Captain Flynn, our sector. I got to learn to rely on you more than I already do.
Yes, sir. Chief, did you have anything you wanted to say before I get started?
Very quickly, just wanted to add before the captain presents, we've been attempting to fill our police social worker position now for a couple of months, and we've had success this week. I made a conditional offer of employment to a candidate for that position. So in the coming weeks, I anticipate a rollout of that police social worker to manage our community citizens that may be in crisis or dealing with other socioeconomic issues versus having officers to do it. And actually, we had two great candidates, and I'm trying to work it out to where I can have them both. So we're headed in the right direction in diversifying how we manage incidents in Clayton County. And that's all I got. On you, Captain.
All right, sir. Good morning, everybody. As far as the sector goes, and it's actually been among the sectors, one of the trends that we're seeing, I know the numbers look like we are seeing crime increasing, but we've changed the way, or we've been required to change the way some of these crimes are reported. Whereas in the past, if you had a certain crime and, you know, it might be an armed robbery and an aggravated assault and a theft, it would only be reported as the armed robbery. Well, now the way this data is being reported, all three are being reported. So it's not that necessarily we're having an increase in the incidents themselves. It's the way the data is actually being collected and reported that's causing this. One thing I will say is the majority of the crime that we're seeing, particularly any crimes of violence, are people that know each other. It's not stranger on stranger crime. It's actually people that know each other. So and that's been across the county as well. The other sectors are seeing the same thing. And I think COVID and the pandemic and everybody being kind of cooped up and around each other sometimes would contribute to that. We did have a spike in robberies. The one thing I will say out of that is we did have 5 in the last week. 3 of those incidents, we were able to catch the perpetrators within less than an hour of the actual incident itself. One of those incidents was somebody that knew the 2 people that tried to rob him. Like I said, we were able to apprehend them fairly quickly. And then the other 2 incidents was actually one person that tried to carjack 2 separate people. And the men and women of the Sector 4 precinct were actually able to go into the woods off of Terra Boulevard and locate this person. So 3 out of the 5 incidents that we had, we were able to resolve them almost immediately. So that is, you know, reflective of the hard work between, you know, the men and women of the Clayton County Police Department, the Sector 4 officers, and also the Sheriff's Office. This, you know, is a collaborative effort, and that has been happening. The one thing that we do still see is, you know, thefts from vehicles and vehicle thefts, where it probably could be prevented if people would just take their valuables with them out of their vehicles. A lot of these are just crimes of opportunity. Somebody walks by a car and sees something in there that you know that they're interested in, and they take it. So if the citizens would just, you know, continue to take valuable property out of their vehicles, I think we would continue to see a reduction there. Vehicle thefts, again, a lot of the vehicle thefts are people that know the people that they're taking the vehicle from. The ones that aren't, we are still seeing people leaving cars running at gas stations, cars running in the parking lot because it is getting hot and they're wanting their air conditioners to run. So, just turn the car off, take the keys with you. I know it, it gets a little hot in the cars in the summertime around here, but that would help reduce those numbers as well. The only other thing that we've been seeing, I've had an increase. I will say this, I don't typically get any type of crime complaints as far as, what you would expect, burglaries and thefts and things like that. That's not what I've been getting phone calls on. It's been almost entirely related to traffic, people doing donuts, noise, things like that. And, we're responding out and we've been working very hard in those areas. And anytime I get those reports, I add them and we target those areas for several weeks to try to make sure that, any areas where we're seeing those type of problems, we address them, for several weeks to try to keep those things from happening. And that's pretty much what I have for the Sector 4 precinct.
Captain Flynn, this is Judy Taylor. How are you this morning?
I'm well, ma'am. How are you?
I'm great. I'm one of the ones that's been complaining because my neighbors keep complaining constantly about the people either coming in from off of Terra Boulevard or even some of our residents that have the fast cars and they're coming in and doing the donuts at all of our intersections. They do them all hours of the night, especially last Saturday night, and then sometimes during the daytime. And they're making so much noise. They've modified their cars and they make them backfire, make noise in the middle of the night. Then they have all this smoke that comes up into people's houses off the rubber tires and everything else too. And so it's really become a big nuisance, and we have marks all over our roads and everything. And I've already, of course, talked to you about that, communicated with you about that. And I appreciate the fact that you said that you're going to help us with it. And we always appreciate what you do. I just want to let you know that continues, and I still get complaints about that. And everything you do to help us is always appreciated.
Yes, ma'am. And that is, I've instructed after we talked this past week, I instructed my lieutenants to make sure to keep your subdivision and the other subdivisions right there along Terra Boulevard, because that's been the predominant area that I've heard from you and other citizens in reference to those type of issues. So I have directed them, and we will be making our presence known in those areas for the next several weeks to try to curb that as much as we possibly can.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Captain Flynn,
Yes, sir.
I have a question in reference to her question about the vehicles and the donuts and things of that nature. And Ms. Taylor, you may be able to help me. The intersections where those incidents are happening, the houses that are at those locations, do they have cameras that possibly pick up the roadway or partial areas of the street that we may be able to get video and research tags and make contact with these individuals later, so we can send a message that even though you might be able to drive off that day, we will take action as soon as we can following the investigation? Can either one of you speak to that?
This is Judy Taylor. I did put out in the neighborhood a request for anyone that had any kind of video or anything like that. And also if they could safely get tag numbers, but usually that's very difficult to do. And because the people go so fast and everything, and they're in and out. Now, sometimes they go round and around in the neighborhood, and I've asked them to be sure to call 911 if they're continually in the neighborhood staying here. I'm asking them to call it in and see if we can't get it stopped and everything else too. But I am asking anyone that has any video or any pictures or anything like that to make a police report about it and provide that information. And I'm hoping we maybe can get some more people in the right locations to possibly get some cameras and do some things like that that would help us and everything too. So we know that would be helpful. It's just getting it done is requesting that's what we're doing.
Captain Flynn, if we could coordinate with community affairs at the top of the week, have them go out to the community, find those areas where we see those donut road marks, and make contact with the nearby houses just to have a face-to-face about and confirm whether they have cameras and whether they have video that might be helpful.
Yes, sir. Will do.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm clear on that, Chief. We'll get some folks out there this week.
Thank you all. Any other questions for Chief or for Captain Flynn? I don't know if we have anyone on from Animal Control that wanted to speak, do we?
Sir, we do have Captain Green's proxy. Captain Green is not in today, but his second, Lieutenant West, is on the call.
Great, thank you. Go Lieutenant West.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just wanted to say I am Lieutenant West. I am the Sector 2 Evening Watch shift commander. I'm filling in for Captain Green this week. Sector 2, for all that do not know, is kind of in the area of Garden Walk Boulevard, Riverdale Road, Bethsaida Road, Church Street, a little bit of Highway 85, Upper Riverdale Road, and of course, the most notorious Riverdale Road. As far as our crime trends and everything in that area, I would say we're doing very good. And to piggyback on Captain Flynn, some of the things that he's seeing, such as the package theft, such as the vehicle thefts and the entering autos, a lot of those things, just as Captain Flynn has already mentioned, can be prevented and deterred by not leaving valuables in your vehicles, as he said, by making sure that if you are having a package delivered, and you are, especially for our apartment complex tenants, making sure that you are taking your packages or having your packages delivered maybe to the leasing office or some of these Dropbox locations that the post office, Amazon, even UPS, FedEx, all of them, they kind of offer these Dropbox locations that you can go and punch in a number and retrieve your package safely. I would also suggest that maybe doing those during the daytime hours, or have someone with you, be in a lighted condition when you're doing those things. Going back to the vehicles, making sure you're taking your keys with you. And even if you're taking your valuables out of the car, especially when you have like the push start vehicles and things like that, don't have keys hidden in the vehicle, and don't leave your doors unlocked still, because you're still allowing crimes of opportunity to occur. So just wanted to make sure that everyone had that information, but I would say for our sector, we're doing very well, and I appreciate all of the assistance from everyone in the community to help us help you guys have a very safe community. Are there any questions for me for Sector 2?
Anyone?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lieutenant West, for your work and your efforts.
No problem.
Where are we now? I'm looking here. What is next? I'm all around this agenda that almost keeps me in line. We've spoken to Flynn. Who else do we have here? Chief, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Real quick, we spoke about traffic issues that we see occurring, and across the metro area, you've seen a lot of discussion about street racers, and this weekend was supposed to be one of those weekends for a great likelihood of a major event in the metropolitan area, where if you've been paying attention to the news, you've seen that several of those coordinators have been taken into custody, and we have been coordinating with the DeKalb County and APD. And there is no intelligence indicating any events this weekend. And I dare say, I believe those arrests will likely discourage any similar activity in the county. But as Ms. Taylor said, if you see that type of activity occurring, or you see a large gathering of those vehicles, I encourage you to call 911 immediately so we can get units rolling to escort them away from the county. And I'll close with that. But I think we're safe for the weekend, but that could change, and keep your eyes and ears open. And if you see that activity beginning, call us immediately.
Thank you, Captain. And, you know, one thing we can say, and we can brag about it, is our crime rate and our efforts are going down. They are not trending up like some of the other metro, counties and municipalities are. So thank you, Chief Roberts, to you and your full staff for what you all are doing for us in this county. as far- any-
Commissioner Davis, this is Judy Taylor again. I wasn't sure who would need to address this issue, but another big concern we have in our neighborhood is so many cars parked at houses, and particularly if somebody has a corner lot, because they are allowed to park any number of cars on the side of their house, each side, in the back, and then on the street during certain most hours and everything. Sometimes in places we have as many as anywhere between 10 to 17 cars can be parked in one address because it's a corner lot. The bad thing about it is you can see all these cars from the streets and everything else too. But because of the way our codes are written, they can park all those cars there because they don't make allowances for corner lots and everything else too, because you can park in the side, you can park in the backyard, you can park anywhere except you can't park on the grass in the front yard and everything too. So we need to look at our ordinance and see if we can make an adjustment some way for corner lots, because in several areas on Sherwood, we have two houses that many times you go by there and there's as many as 8, 10, 12 cars at each house, and they're within a couple of houses of each other. They give the idea that they might be possibly selling cars. A lot of times they have test drive tags on their cars and everything out there too. But that causes a lot of problems when you have so many houses that have that many cars parked at a house at the same time. I would like to ask, we maybe could look into something to see if we could work on that, because I don't think anybody wants to, on a regular basis, to have people, that people are gonna have events, and so you're gonna have cars. But if on a regular basis, they're parking 10, 12, 15 cars, that does cause issues in neighborhoods, and I'd appreciate any help we could get.
Does anyone want to address that as far as cars that are working, non-working, and parked on the concrete and in the back and covered and all that?
Commissioner, I'll jump in, and that's usually a code enforcement issue, and I know they're not with us, but we've had experience with it in the past. Ms. Taylor is correct about the way the code is written. If I remember correctly, it doesn't have a number or amount of vehicles as long as they're parked either behind the front line of the house or in the backyard. But with that being said, what she's asking is for us to revisit the code, and Ms. Taylor, I hear you. What I would do is reach out to my public safety partners and the Quality of Life Task Force and revisit that code section and see if there are some adjustments that can be made or taken into consideration. Of course, we would have to bring in county legal to do so, but I'll be glad to contact my partners and let us review that and get back to you. And there's another code query in the chat in reference to landscape trailers. I would encourage everyone to get familiar with the Clayton County Municode. That's where all of our county ordinances are. I don't know that ordinance off the top of my head, but if you Google Clayton County Municode, MUNICODE, you will see all the codes and you can read them there, Ms. Janice, and maybe that'll help you. But off the top of my head, I can't answer that without doing some research. But Commissioner, I will reach out to my public safety partners in reference to Ms. Taylor's question.
Great. And we'll also go ahead and look for that code on those trailers to get that information to her as well. All right. Is Captain McDonald now on?
I think Captain Richards was putting his information in the chat for anybody that might have a code question.
No problem. All righty. I'm trying to think, have we missed anything, Maris? Go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Are you talking to me, Judy Taylor, again?
I saw you highlighted. I thought you were saying something.
Well, maybe I wanted to bring up the fact that maybe everybody should pay attention to whatever zoning issues might be happening in our district, because we do have some that might affect quite a few people, especially in the Noah's Ark, Fairfield, Deer Crossing, and Dixon Industrial, everything coming up. And there'll be a community meeting from Planning and Zoning to give out information on June 23rd at 6 o'clock down at the Charlie Griswold at International Park, where if anybody has a question or concern, they might go down there and see what's going to happen, because there's a plan to build 195 attached townhouses at the corners of Noah's Ark and Thornton Road, where the little golf course, little golf driving range is. So if you're interested and want to know what's going on down there, it'd be great for you to attend some of the meetings and to get some information.
Well, right now, let me let you know on that. Noah's Ark, that is a proposed plan. Right now, we're doing a traffic study on it, or we have a traffic study being prepared for that to begin to look at the feasibility of having that plan put into motion. But right now, it's just a proposed plan that they are presenting to the county.
The reason I brought it up was the traffic issue, because we all know how it is on Noah's Ark Road, and that's a little narrow road, and trying to get across the railroad track or to go anywhere down there is already an issue. If you have hundreds more cars in that area, then of course that's going to have to be looked at and everything else from a safety and traffic issue. So I just wanted people to be aware that maybe they might want to just pay attention to, what's going on down that area.
We have had one neighborhood meeting, and we have another one that's proposed. I believe it's in July. I'll have to take a look at it. But we will be posting signs for that after the traffic study comes out. So we definitely want the neighbors engaged to know what's being proposed in their area. Thank you for that, Ms. Taylor. You got something else? Well, I'm missing it. Okay. So, okay, I got that. Now we talked about that. Okay, so next meeting is July. I'm skipping July. Come here, Chairman, don't move. When's the next meeting? July 10th. Our next meeting is Saturday, July 10th at 11 a.m. So we're hoping to see everybody there. We have been putting signs out to make people aware of the community meetings. So hopefully those are helping you all. And please pass the word. We can't do what we don't know. And so we want to make sure you all are engaged and engaging us in your needs and your wants for this community. That's what we're here for. We do have one announcement, though, I want to make is we have an Alzheimer's golf tournament coming up Monday, June 28th at Lake Spivey at 10 a.m. For those that play golf, please come on out and help support the Alzheimer's Center. We have to begin to raise them funding because we know we have a need here, and they are doing their best to make that need, to grant that need. So that's what we want to have. Now, we do have Chairman Turner, who has just walked in, and see if he has anything to say here.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you, albeit via Zoom. Hopefully we can get back to normal, but the first thing that we need to do to get back to normal is to make sure that we get vaccinated. We have a vaccination drive out here, and I'm sure the Commissioner Davis has told you the location and what's going on. We're going to have a couple of more throughout the county. Please go to our website and get those sites, and please tell somebody about it. Hopefully each and every one of you are vaccinated already. And I'm here to tell you, I was fully vaccinated, as well as Commissioner Davis. We haven't developed any superhero skills or nothing has dropped off of us. So we are still in good standing, and I would definitely encourage and recommend the vaccine to anybody. That's the quickest and surest way for us to get back to normal, as near as what normal is going to be. He's probably provided you also with a lot of good information, so please, write that information down. We have several community events. Matter of fact, I have a Juneteenth celebration next Saturday, and that's going to be at the Gerald Matthews Soccer Field, which is at the South Clayton Recreation Center off of McDonough Road in Lovejoy. Come on out. It's going to be from 10 to 8 o'clock. Social distance and masks are still required, even though the event is outside. But if you're in a large group, then we encourage you still to mask up. Of course, if you're in smaller groups with your family or somebody who you have been in constant contact with, then of course the mask will be optional. But come out, we're gonna have a concert as well around 5:30 to 8 o'clock. Enjoy some fellowship, and let's make sure that we start getting together as a community. After that, I'm gonna have the CASA 5K Run Walk, which is on August 21st. That's going to be at Lee Street Park. Now that 5K run walk is to a benefit or a fundraiser for the kids in foster care. So I work with CASA on that to provide the CASA program funds to make sure that we're taking care of our foster kids. Also, half of that money will go to scholarships for those kids who are in kinship care are those grandparents who are raising their grandkids. And for whatever reason, they find themselves raising their grandkids because they've already raised their kids. But now they find themselves raising their grandkids. And we know that a lot of times those grandparents are on fixed incomes. So anything I can do to help them in that capacity to make sure that their kids, their grandkids, can have a little money to go to college with. I want to make sure I do that in the form of scholarships. So that money is raised and 100% goes, well, 50% goes to CASA program, the other 50% goes to the kinship care program for scholarships for our graduating kids. So other than that, I appreciate Commissioner Davis allowing me to say a few words and give you an update on some of our upcoming events. And just like he said, we're accessible. We're here to answer your questions and to assess you on your needs. So if you have any questions for me, then please go to my website, jeff.turner@claytoncountyga.gov is my email address. I can be reached at 770-472-8122. And my cell phone, which y'all pay for, so you should have access to it, is 404-416-1825. If I can ever be of any assistance, please don't hesitate. Thank you and God bless. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you, Chairman Turner. And, Chairman Turner has really stepped up in the fact, and I'll tell you all this, in the absence, in the passing of Commissioner Gregory, he has stepped up to take over that district to make sure those folks are still being serviced at their full capacity and their full need. So he stepped up to do that in spite of all the other work he has come across his desk. So he is working with the late Commissioner Gregory's constituent aid and still servicing our community. So we want to thank him for that as well. Are there any questions of what we need? This is our question period. What do we need to look at?
I have a question. I actually had to put it in the chat, but one, I didn't know who
Going anywhere. You're gonna stay right here.
I guess, I don't know if this would be, do you guys have city councilman or woman for Clayton County? I'm actually a new resident, so I just moved here.
Yeah, we are a county, not a municipality. So
Okay.
we have commissioners.
Okay,
And, we have a commissioner of each district and that are elected by the district, and we have a chairman that's elected countywide, which is equivalent to the mayor, city council persons positions in most of your cities and municipalities.
so now would Mr. Turner be representing where road?
Where about in Clayton County do you reside? What area?
On Taylor Road?
Taylor Road. Taylor Road is District 4. So that I am your commissioner for District 4. And the chairman represents the entire county.
Yeah, so of course, I work closely with Commissioner Davis and all of the commissioners. So as the chairman, as he said, I am elected by the entirety of the voting constituency of Clayton County, but I represent everybody. So as we work together for, of course, being that district commissioner, he will be your first contact point. And of course, if you couldn't reach him for whatever reason, then you can always feel free to contact your chairman. But rest assured, he and I, as well as the rest of the board, work together to address the needs and concerns of the community.
Well, great. It's nice to put a name and a face. But one of my questions is, why are these apartment complexes allowed to charge these outrageous fees, these slew of fees and the rent increase, and I feel like there's no oversight for these kind of things.
Well, there is a state oversight for rent increases as well as a federal, I do believe. So I'd have to check into that. I don't know what those rules and regulations are, so I don't want to comment on them too much until I look at them. But you can reach out and contact my office if you'd like. My number, and I'll give you my number as well. It's 404-670-7241. I'm starting to remember that number. Yes.
So can I just repeat that back to you? So that's 404-670-7241?
Oh, 7281.
7281. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Denise would have corrected me in about 10 more seconds. And you can reach me by email at demont.davis, that's DEMONT.Davis, DAVIS, at claytoncountyga.gov.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay? And don't hesitate with any other questions, and welcome to Clayton County, and especially District 4.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments or
Yeah,
concerns?
I
Yes.
have one.
Yes.
Commissioner, this is Jean-Claude Bourget. I've got a question in regards to the businesses, the code enforcement.
Mhm.
Are we really engaged in getting those businesses to clean up their areas as far as trash is concerned?
Yes, we are.
Parking lots and all these other stuff? Because I'm really seeing an increase in trash everywhere.
Right. Now, I can tell you this, for the last 2 weeks, as far as a lot of the grasses go that were on the county side, because of that pipeline burst, we had a hold on cutting the grass because we wanted to make sure we had enough fuel for our first responders. So that's what was going on there. They are now starting to get back to business as normal. As far as the trash on a lot of your major highways, we have been increasing the blitzes and all of these and citing them as well in order to get these areas cleaned up. So we are aggressively going after that. So if there's something that you see, please contact me and code enforcement so that we can begin to address that immediately. But we have blitzes though for a lot of those areas, and I think the last blitz was about 3 weeks ago up on Terra Boulevard. And yeah, and we can go to Clayton as well.
All right. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Hi, may I ask a question? This is Felicia Ash.
Yes, you may.
Okay, well, thank you. I have a nonprofit for veterans, and I was especially women veterans. And I'm just trying to get some information about what Clayton County is doing for them and how I can help them. I know how I can help them, but where are they? And do we have anything here in Clayton County for veterans, especially women vets?
Is it a nonprofit organization?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how long have you been with this operating?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, I tell you what, if you can contact Denise Arad and set up a meeting, and we can begin to discuss what you do, how you do it, and what we can begin to do to assist our folks in this county.
And also, Representative Sandra Scott does a lot with female veterans, so she can contact her also.
Could you give me those names again, please?
State Representative Sandra G. Scott, she works a lot with female veterans. And if you put your information, I can send you hers.
Okay, and then what was Denise was the other one?
Yes. And Denise, do you want to put your information out there so she can email and call you?
Please, 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 please.
Yes, it's in the chat already.
Great, it's in the chat. So please call her, set up a meeting, and we can sit and talk ASAP.
Okay, you said Denise is in the chat?
Denise's is in the chat.
Let's see.
We'll get it to you though.
Okay, because I don't see it.
But thank you for all you do for the veterans.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm enjoying it.
Great. Any other questions? Comments, concerns?
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
I've got one quick question. I put it in the chat. We're having some issues here in the Spivey Club subdivision with coyotes. Is there anyone that can help us with that issue? We're actually hearing them eat animals in the middle of the night. You can actually hear them screaming while they're being eaten. Is there anything we can do to try to kind of capture some of these coyotes that we're having?
Everybody got to eat. Everybody got to eat.
I know, but not at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's something that we have to look at animal control. Now, we know animal control does not work at 2 a.m.
And DNR come out for that. For
we know, but is there any possibility they can probably put some traps out for them?
Actually,
let me say this: DNR are the ones who come out and trap for the coyotes. And as you are well aware of, there's a new phase that's going to be getting developed in that area. So as they cut down those trees, that's going to run that livestock from the coyotes and probably a few other animals that live in that wooded area out into the neighborhood. So don't be surprised if you see some other varmints coming up to your doorstep, ringing your door.
Well, I'll tell you, these coyotes are huge. I mean, they're bigger than dogs. So it really concerned us when we saw
What
them.
we'll do is get in contact with DNR and let them know that you're seeing some coyotes, and they'll get somebody out there and hopefully set some traps.
Thank you.
Okay, I see a question that popped up. We need trees and shrubs, trim. Okay, Thornton and Jodico. I know we had Georgia Power out there trimming around those power lines. We will make a note of that and put that on the list to come out to trim as well. So take care of that one. I saw another one up here about pandemic funds. The federal funds. We have received grant money from the government. It has just come in, and we are looking at that. So I can't give you a definitive answer of what we're doing with that yet, with those funds as of yet. But if you want to give us a call, I will begin to check with the COO to get some definitive things that we are doing with those funds from that funding source. Am I covering everything in here? I want to make sure I didn't overstep anyone's question. Did I? All good? All right. Good. All righty. Any other questions? I think we've covered everything that people had typed in the chat room.
Yes, I have two questions.
Sure.
Two quick questions. I just want to know about the repavement of Noah's Ark Road because it's very difficult to travel on that road. And also, will Clayton County be syncing their traffic lights because it takes so long to get from Tara to the interstate, or when you get off work to come back up on Tara to get home?
Tara Boulevard is a state road, and will we have to contact state about that? Because I don't know. Yeah. So we'd have to contact the state in order about that issue and see whether they can sync those lights. I don't know the process on it. I will check Monday morning with our transportation person on both of you, on your other issues, as well as far as Noah's Ark. I don't believe Noah's Ark right now is on the schedule for pavement this year. But we can go to T&D and look that up. But I've gotten a lot of concerns about that, and I am pushing to get it on that list though, as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Well, if I don't see any more, I thank you all for coming on. Hopefully those signages work throughout the county on getting more individuals on this meeting. But please, let me know if there's any other issues going on. We are having a good turnout here where people are getting vaccinated. So I want to just thank you all that have gotten vaccinated for what you're doing for this county. We want to get back to normal and begin to make our quality of life much better here. So if that's it, again, thank everybody for coming and have a great weekend. And all, have a great Father's Day next week. Is anything? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Michael?